Hello, everybody. This is Walter Kim, Director at Elite Prep Fremont. If you're a elite student or parent, you're in the right place. This video will be the 2020 Summer Program Orientation. We're going to be covering a lot of topics, and I know you have a lot of questions regarding our program and also what's been happening with the COVID-19 crisis, with the UC announcement, all the things that's happening with the College Board's SATs, and just general questions about college admissions. Hopefully we'll get a lot of your questions answered in this video. So without further ado, let's delve in. We're going to start with the topic on the UC announcement. So let's go back to early last year, 2019, in January, when Standardizing Testing Task Force was created by the UC. And in March of the same year, a couple months later, the Varsity Blues scandal rocked the world of higher education. We've heard of stories of celebrities like Felicity Huffman were paying these specialized team of people to take tests for their children or help them create a profile to get an edge getting into top-tier colleges like Stanford and USC. And once this was exposed, a lot of people were angry. And in the December of 2019, UC was sued by the advocacy group, including the Compton Unified School District, for the unfairness that they saw in the admissions process, in particular with the SAT, ACT testing. In February of 2020, earlier this year, this task force that they created about a year before made their recommendation. That was to, number one, keep the SAT, ACT as part of their admission standards. Number two, they recommended that the essay should be removed from for the admission standards because they thought it was not useful. And they said, quote, standardized tests are good predictors of college success both for well and under-resourced students. And later, the UC Academic Senate voted 51-0 unanimously to keep the SATs and ACTs as part of their admission standards. However, a few months later, UC President Janet Napolitano recommends that the SAT, ACT to be phased out despite the recommendation of the Academic Senate. So this really caused an uproar. And only a couple of weeks after that, the UC Board of Regents, I believe it's made up of 23 individuals, voted unanimously to phase out the SAT, ACT with a 5-year plan. Now, the reason behind all this, you have to understand that the UC's, their worthy goal is to have a student body that reflects the broad diversity of California. And you guys all know that California is one of the most diverse states in America. If I were to just take a snippet of a school in the UC system like UCLA, it could be UC Berkeley or UC Irvine. The numbers are pretty similar. So for UCLA, if you take account of all the graduating seniors in California last year, about 10% is made up of Asian American students, yet 43% of the incoming UCLA class was Asian American. Versus Latino, 47% graduated from California high schools, yet it only made up 21% of the incoming freshman class at UCLA. So this big disparity is what President Janet Napolitano and Board of Regents were concerned about. Now, what does this mean for you? And when I say you, I am talking in particular to elite students. Now, if you harken back to the Prop 209, when it was passed, we all saw an increased number of Asian American students getting into UCs. It went from something under the 30% and to close to 50%. But with the new changes happening with the UC, by phasing out the SAT and ACT, getting into UCs is about to get a lot tougher for our students. There's already a lot of people trying to raise awareness in what's happening. As you can see from the picture, I am Asian American. I have a dream too. Discrimination in the name of diversity is wrong. And we have a funny quote from one of my colleagues who said, if they want to represent the number of students to be represented in schools, they should also have 10 to 15% of Asian Americans in college basketball teams. Now, I know that's a little bit of a different, you can't really correlate that, but, there's a lot of questions regarding how fair admissions process is going to be once this decision will be implemented in the next few years. So in summary, in the 5-year plan, the SAT, ACT tests will be optional for the current 10th graders and 11th grade students. So I'm talking about a lot of the incoming summer students for elite who are 10th graders. This applies to you. The test will be optional for the UC schools. And for the current 8th and 9th grade students, the SAT and ACT scores will become blind to them, which means they will not look at your scores even if you submit them. For the year following, which is 5 years from now, the 7th graders, they have not made a decision yet. They were thinking about either taking a pre-existing test like the SBAC, which is the Smarter Balanced test, and modifying it for their admissions, or they're going to come up with their own test altogether. I know this idea has been already had some opposition because they know that UC is already struggling with the financial issues and it's going to cost a lot of money. They're estimating about $100 million or more to create their own test. So everything is up in the air for now in the 5-year plan in the 5th year. But for now, they did decide to drop the essay requirement immediately, and which means they do not want to see the essay score at all. And I want to elaborate on this topic later on the slides. Subject tests, interestingly, will still matter to the UCs. Even when the UCs go test blind in year 3 to 4, they're going to still look at the test, subject tests if they submit them. And remember, this is a test that used to be required, and then a few years back, it became optional. But even then, when it was optional, the SAT, ACTs were always required. Now that the SAT, ACT is not required, or is going to be blind, they're going to be blind to it. Yet the subject test will still be optional. So that's a very interesting change of things. We have a very detailed blog on these matters. So if you want to check it out, please go to eliteprep.com/blog, and it will expound on all this matter further in detail. So what is Elite's response with this decision? So colleges, we know, still want as much information as possible about the applicants so they can secure a better understanding of their profile, right? So more information they get is better for them. So we know that for those who are going test optional for this year, mainly due to the COVID-19 crisis, it is still to the student's advantage to take the SAT, ACT, do well on them, because that score that you add into your application will be a value add. It will be a value add proposition. So think of it as doing extra credit for your school, except in this case that getting an A- is no longer like 90%. It's more like 93%. So you want to try to submit as much information that's actually going to enhance your profile as much as possible. I want to also remind the students and parents out there that we're not just known as a stellar test prep company. We also offer amazing, outstanding programs. So what do we do besides online, classes this summer? We offer premier tutoring. We offer academics management. So where we help you with your school classes, especially the difficult classes, the tough science and math classes and English classes. We have great program to help you overcome them and conquer them. And we keep you accountable. We also provide top-notch college application services and college consulting, college planning. And we have a program called the Elite Blended Learning for 4-credit high school courses where you get WASC accredited courses, and then you'll be able to get college units, and you can raise your GPA, raise your A through G count, as well as your honors and AP count in some cases, to really elevate your profile. So please check it out at our website, eliteprep.com. Now, beyond the UCs, we want to talk about some other colleges like the out-of-state public schools. Now, many, if not most, still require the SATs, and a lot of them still do strongly recommend the SAT, ACTs. STEM-based colleges like MIT, Rice, Carnegie Mellon, they still require the SAT, ACTs. Top schools Right now, 23 out of top 30 schools still require the SAT, ACTs. And those who don't require them, they do strongly recommend it, or they will definitely take the SAT, ACT score into consideration for admissions. Now, which colleges still require the SAT essays? That's a different question. Here's a list right now. You probably never have heard of schools like these, but Benedictine University, De Salis, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Dominican University of California, Martin Luther, and we probably all heard of West Point. You've probably heard of West Point. It's a military academy in New York. Famous people like Dwight D. Eisenhower and also General Douglas MacArthur. They're alumni from West Point Academy. Now, we are going to make some modifications to our summer program, SAT program, especially due to the changes in the college admissions requirements. Instead of just sticking with the program and just keep going, we want to make sure we are listening to what's happening in the college admissions, and we are making positive changes to it. So, for instance, for our SAT writing program, we will still cover the entirety of our writing and language curriculum, which includes the essay portion. That way, the students who do want to submit their score with the essay, they can do that. Also, there's one school like Duke, they do want to, they recommend that students do submit the essay. I think that's the only school that I can think of that are still recommending it. But outside of that, most schools are not requiring it, or they don't want to see it. But just in case students want to take the SAT with the essay, we want them to be cognizant and knowledgeable in terms of doing the essay portion. So we're going to cover that. We will not be administering the weekly essays during the testing because it is not necessary at all for 99.9% of our students. But we will implement beneficial lessons for college level writing. I hope the parents and students are really, really excited about what we're planning on doing here, which means, we want students to be ready to write well for college, whether they're going into humanities or social sciences or STEM or engineering. There will be classes that you have to write essays for general elective courses, and we want them to be fully prepared. So we will expose them to different types of essay writing in our classes. And they will learn how to, cite sources properly. We'll also get the ball rolling in the college admissions essays. I know a lot of parents are going to be even more happy about this too. And we want to make sure the students will get an early jump on understanding, what type of essay prompts are out there, what they can actually write based on their accomplishments so far. And I'm going to go into that a little bit more. We're also introducing a new intensive reading workout booklet. It's 300 plus pages worth of hard, difficult questions on the reading section. And I think a lot of our students will really benefit from that as well. So going into like the previous comment about the just getting an early jump on the application essays, the UC Insight questions, it's been out for the last 2 years. And, you have to choose 4 of the 8 topics. And I believe that, by spending some time understanding the topics and students in 10th grade or going into 11th grade, brainstorming what they want to write, outlining it, it's going to really expose, where they're lacking. And so we want to be able to spend some time doing this so they can get an early jump because the last thing we want is a student that is working on their application last minute in senior year and realizing they don't know what to write for their second, third, or fourth topic. So we're going to make sure students will be cognizant and will work on their weak areas early on. Now, during the COVID-19 and for students who met with me over Zoom, I did show this already. I want to encourage you guys to keep reading. If you stop reading and just watch TV or just dig yourself into your phone, your brain's going to turn to mush. So keep reading. Colleges do care about intellectual curiosity. We had a wonderful director, Sharon. She gave a great webinar series on this topic. So are you going to college because it's just the thing to do and it sounds cool? Or are you do you have a genuine passion for learning? Do you have this intellectual curiosity that burns inside of you? And the colleges that identify students with these qualities, they're going to be really attracted to them, and they're going to want them on part of their incoming freshman class. Also, I want to encourage students to, put down your phone, put down your laptops, put down your iPads, stop watching YouTube, TikTok, Instagram videos, and looking at Amazon reviews, and, start doing research for colleges. You're going to end up going there for at least 4 years. Your parents will spend a lot of money, $100,000, sometimes more than that, for college for college tuition. So I want you guys to be well aware of your options out there. So hopefully next time I ask a random student, do you know where Emory is? Or what liberal arts colleges are like? What about the fact that you like, you're pursuing a medical field? What are some options for you for a BSMD program? So I hope the students will be really well informed. I also want the students, encourage the students to look into different major options. And by looking into some college essays, you'll really get a head start. And you're not just applying as a undeclared major, or you're not just applying with absolutely no direction. You will have some semblance of clue, I think, which will really help you show a direction in your profile, which I think it will overall elevate your chances of getting into top tier colleges. I want to move on to the second topic, which is about College Board. So with College Board, let's talk about you being here. You're right now a sophomore, most of you guys, and you went through the whole COVID-19 starting mid-March. We had a shelter in place to happen, and we all know that the March SAT, also all the ACT has been canceled up till now, and you're about to do prep over the summer. Some of you guys are also doing volunteering, taking summer programs, summer schools, and we have an intensive course that's going to prepare you for a test in the fall, like the August SAT or September ACT or October SAT. But we know that it's a little bit different this year. First of all, College Board did make a announcement that they said that if it's safe from the public health standpoint, they will provide a weekend SAT administrations every month through the end of the calendar year, beginning in August. So they're going to have a brand new test in September. So they're going to squeeze that between these August and October tests. So your calendar is now going to look like this. There's a new makeup test here, and there'll be a continuation of 5 months straight of SAT offering from August till December. Also, remember, there are 2 more tests that the students have not really made up yet. The May and June test will be made up sometime in possibly February or April or even January. So I would imagine that the current 10th graders, as they go into 11th grade, you should be able to take the SATs almost every month of your junior year, which is interesting. College Board also mentioned back in April that College Board will provide a digital SAT in the unlikely event that the schools don't reopen, that this digital SAT will be like the AP test, and it will be at home. It'll be simple, secure, fair, and accessible to all, valid for use in college admissions. Now, this is a very, optimistic outlook. We kind of heard about the debacle that happened with the AP score submission, and I think the College Board is now rethinking how they're going to administer tests if the situations don't improve with the COVID-19 crisis. So on June 2nd, College Board asked colleges to show flexibility in admissions this year to reduce stress for students, citing challenges in providing universal access to the SAT during the coronavirus pandemic. So we heard about students that who took the AP test that they said, oh, my power went out, my computer broke down, my internet stopped working, and they realized all these variables that they didn't originally really thought about. So my guess is that they're right now, talking to a lot of the high schools where they will be administering the SATs, where they can spread out the students and put less students into a classroom and maybe rent out more space to accommodate the number of students that they'll accommodate for the SATs in the fall. But ultimately, you will be able to take the SAT starting this fall, 2020, and throughout the school year. So I hope that you guys realize that you shouldn't worry whether the test will be canceled. One way or another, the test will be administered starting this August. Now, when should you take the SATs? We always tell the students when you are ready. You're ready usually when your score is at the level consistently that you're happy with. And also, I encourage the students from the summer to take advantage of the momentum they work so hard to create. So it would make sense for them to maybe target the tests in August or October or November. In this case, also in September. So I would try to take the test as soon as you can. But also at the same time, you have to look at your overall level, your progress, how much you've improved, and just your overall expectations based on your academic profile. So for instance, if you're a 3.35 student starting with 1100 SAT score and you raise your score 250 points to 1350, perhaps that is a good time where you should take the test, because your score will already shoot what your GPA represent. And another case would be like a student that maybe missed the whole summer opportunity to take the SAT prep, and then they're starting at 1450, their GPA is 4.5. They study for the SAT 1 or 2 months, and their score is now at 1490 or just shy of 1500. And some of the students might want to, work on their SATs a little bit more and then take it at a later time. So it really depends on the student, case by case. I would also encourage the students to sign up for your SATs and secure your spot, because the registration is already open for the August tests and other tests too. It started back in May, and we believe that the spaces are filling up fast. Some of the places have already filled up. It's always easy to sign up and cancel or postpone, but if you are not signed up, you won't have an option to do anything. Or you have to travel really, really far to sign up for the test. So please go ahead and sign up for the test that you think that you will take, even if it means that you might end up taking it a month or two later. As far as the COVID-19 update, I have some parents asking me about the situation. So I wanted to let you guys know what's been happening with our city of Fremont and the county that we are located in, which is Alameda County. Alameda County has reported the highest cases of COVID-19 of all the Bay Area counties. That's with number almost reaching 4,000 with the confirmed cases and 102 deaths. And I went to the government website that talks about this in detail. The order also allows schools to provide care or supervision of children to enable personnel to work for businesses allowed to operate under this order and work as an essential governmental employees. And the children are in stable groups of 10 or fewer. So it's a very, very, unique situation where you're able to actually run classes where, parents are part of like the governmental employees or part of the essentials employees. Also, we have to have a group of 10 or less. And, we don't qualify for any of those categories. So we are not going to be able to offer in-person class right now. Also, I've been informed that a lot of our elite students are living with their grandparents who are, especially susceptible or vulnerable to this horrible COVID-19 pandemic. So I don't think the families want to take chances in exposing their grandparents if there happens to be an outbreak at places like Elite, and we obviously don't want that to happen. However, with that said, our company, this branch, all of Elite, we're fully prepared to go online this summer. Also, we're fully prepared to transition back into an in-person class. We have, amazing facility here. We have classrooms, we have teachers, and we're able to run in-person class as long as the catch is the CDC, the local government clearly states that given our circumstances with our structure, we're allowed to do so. So I know there's a lot of conditions that have to be attached for us to run an in-person class, but if we meet those requirements, we will for sure run in-person class, but not right now. Now, there was a question also if there's going to be a hybrid class, which is a class where you have in-person students as well as maybe a computer setup for an online student engaging into a class as well. We're not going to run that because we've our company has done many test runs with the hybrid class, and it's been a huge failure. So we're not going to promote something that hasn't been an effective structure. So we're not going to run a hybrid class. But in case that we are able to run an in-person class, but some students and parents don't feel comfortable having their children be engaged in the in-person class, we're going to create a separate online class to continue the online program throughout the summer. So that is the plan in place. So let's talk about our live online SAT classes. And I want to start this off with our video. Hopefully you guys can hear this.
Hi everyone, Jason at Elite Prep here to tell you about our new full-service interactive virtual platform, Elite Online. We are taking all of our in-person awesomeness, that's everything that makes Elite great, and making it available to you online from the safety and comfort of your home. So, what is Elite Online going to look like? Well, first, it's going to look like live interactive classes that feel just like being there in person. Students will be able to see their teacher and ask questions live and in real time. And just like in a real classroom, teachers will be able to see all of their students, call on them for answers, and hold them accountable to make sure that they're focused and ready. Our state-of-the-art virtual whiteboard technology brings lessons to life. Plus, our teachers also incorporate interactive features like online polls, games, and small group breakout sessions where students can work in teams to keep things fun and engaging in the classroom. Elite Online also gives each student a profile on the Elite app and lets students, counselors, and parents track score trends to mark improvement and keep track of attendance, homework, and instructor notes from tutoring sessions. Elite Online Summer Bootcamp students get physical copies of our world-renowned curriculum. That's over 1,000 pages of Elite exclusive lessons and practice sets that your expert instructors will guide you through. And Elite Online classes are led by our experienced Elite certified instructors who know what it takes to engage
all right,
a class.
Hopefully
and
that
most
video
of all,
you guys were
care
able to
about the
hear
success and well-being
watch.
of each and every
So let's go on. So regarding our live online classes, so given the evolving public situation, we are fully prepared. I want to just reassure the parents to run a live streaming online class. These classes are not pre-recorded classes. And we're going to be promoting an interactive environment where students can freely ask questions and participate in discussions. And conversely, instructors can call on students. Imagine a law school class where a professor will cold call on students. I'm going to encourage our teachers to do that throughout the program so students are constantly engaged. And we're going to do a lot of fun activities to make sure students are, having fun in our classroom and learning a whole bunch of concepts and material in our classroom. Instructors will also be well equipped to seamlessly stream their instruction using their board work or their tablet. They can use their computer, and students will also have a physical copy of their curriculum in front of them, and I'm going to explain that in a bit. And so the students will have access to our digital curriculum as well as a physical curriculum so they can write their notes. So there's going to be multiple ways for them to absorb information. Now, due to the strict laws against recording children under 18, Elite will not record our classroom sessions. Here's an example of what we've been doing in the spring, where a math teacher was able to show their board work for like a math level 2 test. And we're going to be able to do this for our SAT classes where they can use their Apple Pencil or stylus to show their board work, use different colors. And another cool thing is a reading teacher or writing teacher could show their perspective with their students by zooming into a passage, writing down notes on the margins or their annotations, and you really can see their point of view. And we're going to be using technology at its best and to our advantage for our students. In terms of our summer program curriculum, I want to first of all let everybody know that our curriculum is ready for pickup. If you have signed up for our summer program, we have opened up the pickup process starting this past Saturday. And we have a lot of parents and students already came by with their mask on. And I want to remind you guys that when you enter our our parking lot, please come in from the Ellsworth side. And then as you approach our building on your left, pull over, and then you can confirm your identity and your school information. And we'll hand you guys over a backpack with all your curriculum. So everything is all here, all organized. And then you will just keep going one-way flow out to the Anza Street. So if you haven't done so already, please make sure you guys come by. We sent out an email, the window, and pick up your material because you'll need this before your program starting next week. In the backpack, you'll get a 3-lesson workbook for reading, writing, and language and math. You will also get that new intensive reading workout book that I talked about. You'll get the essay booklet, vocab booklet, reading articles booklet, and 8 separate SAT practice tests. I want to encourage the parents, whether your child is taking our SAT, ACT, BSAT class, make sure you guys secure these tests. We put in a black binder, separated into a black folder. Make sure you guys keep it away from your students, and then just give them the tests that they need each week so that they won't be tempted to look at them. Also, we are providing them with the 8 test review packets, and I'll go into that more in detail later. You will also get an elite binder. This year's color is black, which is cool, and everything will be in your own backpack that you can keep. The weekend students will get the essentials packet. Instead of the thicker packet, it's more streamlined version of our SAT curriculum. The ACT students will get their ACT booklet replaced. And then, so that's that. So I want to just make sure that you guys do come and pick up all your curriculum material by driving in. You do need to physically come here to do that. The next thing I want to talk about is our program structure. Okay, so let's start with what most of you guys are signed up for, which is either the morning boot camp or the afternoon boot camp. So the morning boot camp is from 9 to 1, and the afternoon is from 2 to 6. Now, Tuesday through Friday, we're going to be very strictly adhering to that schedule because that's the classroom days, Tuesday through Friday. Mondays is testing. Testing day, most of the students will get out much earlier because this year we're not administering the essay portion of the SAT. We'll also have some, vocab quizzes here and there, but they will definitely be finishing up Monday much earlier than the other days. Same thing for the 1500 plus program. Their testing day will be shortened. Their classes are going to be either Wednesday, Friday, if you're doing the Monday, Wednesday, Friday option, or your class will be Tuesday, Thursday, if you're doing the Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday option, where the testing is happening the first day of the week. In the Saturday class, the testing is Saturday, and the class will be Tuesday and Thursday. So hopefully that's not too confusing for students that have already signed up for this program. The weekend students, I hope the students in the weekend class are well aware of this. We have revised the schedule. So no longer are we going to start at 8:30 in the morning and then go until 6:30. We're going to start at 9 a.m. And the reason why we're doing that is also because we are taking the SAT essay portion out of the weekly test because it is not needed by 99.9% of our students. Also, we decided to shorten the lunchtime a little bit, and we kept the class duration the same. It's 4.5 hours, so it's gonna be from 1:30 to 6 o'clock. That way, your overall is a little bit shortened. It's still 9 to 6. It's a full day. Hopefully, that's gonna be a much better schedule for all the students and parents. The ACT and PSAT schedule has not changed. So if it does, we'll definitely let you guys know, but it has not changed from the schedule. We're also offering Saturday AP preview classes. I hope a lot of the students and parents are aware of this. We're offering classes on the subject of pre-calc honors, AP Calc, ABC, Bio AP, Chemistry honors, Chem AP, and Physics AP. If you're taking some of these tough classes next year and you want to get an early jump, you want to preview the material, not necessarily for a credit or for grades, but you want to really be exposed so that it will be much more manageable for you. So you can get a good grade in those classes. I recommend you guys to check out our Saturday program for that. All right, so let's go this other direction. So the last topic will be on the classroom management and guidelines. So this is a kind of a big topic. So please, hopefully you guys are still with me on the video. So let's start with the app.eliteprep.com. Now this website address, you need to bookmark this on your computer and your phone because you'll be accessing it all throughout the summer. It is the Elite Student Information System. So this website, app@eliteprep.com, is the SIS. It is where we will house the students, your access to all your classes. So if you need to go into a Zoom classroom, your link will be provided through the SIS by logging in. You can check your homework assignments. You can submit your quiz answers, your test answers, and then you can also check all your scores. And you can also see the instructors' comments or remarks that they made for you. Parents, you will have your own SIS account using your own email address, and you can check the billing statement. You can see the students' progress and the test scores and quiz scores. You'll be up to date on this every single day that it gets updated. You'll be able to see it from your phone or your computer. And also the instructor's comments will be part of that as well. Now, there's more to it. When you are creating this SIS account, your email address that we invited you. So the email looks like the one that I pasted over here. It looks like this, and you're going to get a big, thick link here. You click on that. Your email address for this needs to match your Zoom account email address. If it's not matching, you will not be able to enter our class. So again, I'm sure there's going to be at least a student or two who are lost and didn't pay attention to this. But if you don't have the same email address for the one we invite you into the SIS system, and then you created the account, if that email address does not match your Zoom email, you will not be able to have access. You will gain access to our Zoom classroom. So make sure those two things match. In our SIS, you can see cool things like these, graphs of your improvement by each category of your test, reading, writing, language, and math. You'll also get, all your test scores. You'll also be able to see detailed test report. For instance, you'll see what you got wrong. You can see the answer key. You can also see the difficulty of the question, 1 through 5, 1 being the easiest, 5 being the most difficult. And you can also see what categories of questions you got wrong on the very right column here. Now, not all students are going to start at 1270 and end up at 1550. Some students will. That will really depend on how much students have put into our program, how much they absorb the material, and how much really, ceiling they actually have. Every student is a little bit different, but there are cases where students can, improve only 50 to 100 points, and there are cases where students can improve 300, 400, 500 points. It really depends on the student. Important question is, why are test review packets so important? Okay, I wanted to explain what this is all about. Number one, when it comes to TRP, test review packet, it encourages students to slow down, to process and absorb information. A lot of the students at Elite, they are impatient. Maybe it's the whole generation. They're like, as soon as they think they get it, they're like, okay, yeah, I got it. Let's move on. Let's not waste more time. But when you ask them, they really don't have subject mastery over it. It promotes meticulous and methodical understanding of the problem that they missed. It creates a structure and positive study habits. It forces student, let's replace that word. It encourages student to take ownership and be accountable to all the problems they, number one, missed, which they should, and all the questions that they omitted because they ran out of time or they didn't want to tackle it. By the way, you should never omit a question because you don't get any negative raw scores for the ones you get wrong. So hopefully you guys know that by now. And also the questions that you end up guessing. You're 50-50 between B and D. You decide to go with B because you had bananas for breakfast and you get it right. You need to go back and find out why you got it right, okay? And also the TRP will have parents, follow your child's progress in detail and keep them accountable at home. I think that one of the best things for parents to see is, how's my child doing in SATs in week 5 or 6? Let's take a look at their test review packet, and you will see what type of questions they're getting wrong, and you will see how much they have come since the week 1 and 2 and 3, and if they're showing improvement from one test to the other test. Here is a sample of our TRP. This is what it looks like. You will get two different versions. One will be the physical copy that we include in your backpack, okay, where you get to write it out on a piece of paper. So it will look just like this. It will have the instructions and the question types on how to complete and how to categorize your questions. You will also get a digital copy of the TRP where it's a fillable PDF. It's a editable PDF where you can type up your explanations. I think some students will really prefer this because they really don't like writing, which is going to be a lost art soon. So you guys can do either or. You can type it up or you can write it down. The math section is going to be much tougher unless you're very familiar with, drawing special like triangles and graphs and these things using a computer. You will be much better off actually writing out the math portion, taking a picture of your handwritten math TRP. So your verbal section, you can do a digital, upload it on Google Classroom. And then for the math section, you can take a picture of it with your phone. Make sure it's not blurry. Make sure it's clear so our admin staff could really go through your TRP, make sure that you did it correctly. And it has to be submitted by Thursday midnight. So it's actually 11:59, 1 minute before midnight. You have to submit it by then. You can't do it at midnight. You can't do it an hour later. You can't definitely do it on Friday morning. You have sufficient amount of time to cover all this stuff throughout the week. You take the test on Monday. You have time to do test review in class on Tuesday and Wednesday. And you have until Thursday night to finish this, which I think is a pretty ample amount of time. So this has to be done every week for every test. And it's going to be one of the best things that you're going to be able to use when you're reviewing for the real test when it comes in the fall time for you guys. So in terms of the whole Google Classroom and submitting the TRP, we're going to provide detailed information on this in the first week of your class. So don't worry about it right now. Once you guys have everything else set up, we will give you information on Google Classroom. Your test for each week, even quizzes, will be virtually proctored, which means students will have to log into the SIS to access their Zoom link because you have to be in front of a camera. You have to also log in 10 minutes before your test. So if you have a 9 o'clock testing, get there by 8:50. If you got a 2 o'clock testing, get there by 1:50. I think I did the calculation correctly. Yes, 1:50. So make sure you guys get there at least 10 minutes before. Don't show up 10 hours before or even 2 hours before because no one will be there. But 10 minutes before is what we recommend. That way you're not in a rush and we can all start at the same time. The last thing we want is a student coming in late, which means we won't be able to proctor the test for you because everyone's already started. Student must have their physical SAT test and a Scantron before logging in. Remember, we're providing all the tests and curriculum in the backpack, and I wanted the parents to have, control over the tests, and you just have to make sure you give them the correct test for that week, and then you guys can do all your work on the test. You can write on your test; it's for you to keep, and put it on your Scantron. And as soon as the test is done, within 5 minutes, you have to log in and migrate all your answers into our SIS portal. Otherwise, we're going to assume that you decided to do some research on some problem or you decided to go back to a section that you needed more time. So make sure you guys do that within 5 minutes. It should be sufficient amount of time to get all your answers migrated over into our SIS so we can grade it for you so you can get your results right away. Students must keep their cameras on at all times, okay? So we're going to be spending time on your first day for bootcamp students to do orientation. And this is one thing we're going to confirm that you have a working webcam at all times, unless the instructor or moderator says, you can turn it off for the time being, maybe during your break. So unless you're instructed, your webcam has to be on at all times. Parents, we do need your help in this, so please make sure this is enforced at your home. Students also must be in a room or space where they're uninterrupted by like family members or pets and other distractions. Now, I think it's really cute to see a dog or a cat. It's not a big deal, but if that it's happening constantly throughout the class, it's going to be a major distraction on the instructor and also other students as well. Students are not allowed to have a virtual background or engage in private chats. Now we're going to disable the virtual background. Private chats, I think the students can, if they want to, use different chatting services outside of Zoom to do that. But I encourage you guys to please not do that. We have a lot of savvy teachers and administrators watching you, moderators watching these classes. So we'll make sure that you guys adhere to these rules. Students also can raise their hand, just like I'm doing right now. And teachers should be able to see you guys on their screen. If you want to ask questions, you can unmute your mic temporarily and ask your question. Or you can even type up your question on the chat box. There are multiple ways to get your point across. For like hardware devices, we recommend that the students have a somewhat of a modern computer with a webcam and speakers, or you can use a headphone with a mic as well, built-in headset. If you're using a really, really old laptop or computer, it might not run Zoom smoothly. Also, sometimes even more important than that would be having a great internet connection at your home providers. So ISP, make sure that it's high speed and it's steady. There's no spotches. We recommend that you will also use Google Chrome and Firefox browsers instead of Apple Safari browser. We've had some incompatibility issues with the Safari browser with our SIS. So we would prefer that even if you're using a MacBook, go ahead and use the Firefox or the Google Chrome. I think it's a little bit more of a memory hog, especially the Chrome, but hopefully that's not an issue. Make sure you guys have your own pencil and calculator because you'll be using it during class. Because you guys will have a physical copy to write on. Also, limit the number of tabs open in your browser because that's going to just suck up more and more of your memory, and it could also shut down your browser altogether. Also, just be aware that being closer to your Wi-Fi router at your house is going to really increase the quality of the internet connection, and make sure you don't have a lot of things blocking you. The best scenario would be having a direct connection to your laptop or desktop through the Ethernet cable. If you're not technologically savvy, hopefully you can find somebody in your family who can help you do that. In terms of the classroom conduct, we want to make sure the classroom is treated like a real classroom because it is a real virtual classroom. So we don't want there to be any distractions, no funny business, especially with noise. Also, even though you guys are pretty much addicted to your smartphones, you're not allowed to use your smartphone unless you are required to do that in class. For instance, we might be doing an online quiz and you can log in with your phone. So in those cases, you are excused, but other cases you're not allowed to use your phones during class. Also, the webcam desk space that you're showing, we want to make sure your desk area is neat and make sure you're wearing normal school attire. Some of you guys might want to be in bed or wearing your pajamas, and oh my goodness, I don't want to see anybody shirtless this summer. Some of the boys, make sure you guys are wearing proper school attire. The attire that you're allowed to wear at your respective high schools is what I want you guys to wear in front of your camera. Students should treat their instructors with respect. And I'm sure that students also want to be treated with respect by our instructors and also by our admin staff, also by me. So let's really have that respect factor be a strong game in our classes this summer. We also want to make sure that you treat the online class space as they would in person. So I know that you can't really literally like physically trash an online class, but please make sure you treat everything that pertains to the Zoom classes with absolute respect. We want to also make sure students adhere to academic honesty. I hear schools like Caltech, the finals are taken at home and it's open book. And so, we want to be able to trust the students and we want the parents to be able to trust the students. Over the course of last few years, we had students that wanted to cheat on their SAT tests so they can impress their parents with their scores. We had students that wanted to cheat on their vocab quizzes so that they don't have to stick around for the retakes or what have you, or not have their friends wait for the carpool ride. This summer, we're not going to be putting that kind of pressure on you, except we are going to give you guys demerits. But, ultimately, we want you guys to work hard for yourselves. And even though there might be an opportunity for you to cheat, we hope that you don't take that route. We hope that you do everything the right way and you earn your stripes this summer with us. Students are not allowed to record sessions. Now, I did tell some of the students and parents that if you want to record it yourself, you can do that. But as I did some more research, I realized it is actually illegal to record anybody without their consent, especially if the people in the video are minors under age 18. So I did provide a link here, where is a strict law in California against illegal recording of minors under 18. Any students not excused for class or not responding will be called by elite administrators. Rightfully so. Any students not following the classroom protocols will be removed from the class, especially if they're being distracting or muting teachers, if they're able to somehow take control of the classroom. If their misbehavior is really a distraction to our classroom, it could even result in expulsion. Any student not following the Google Classroom protocols will also be removed from class, like posting under a wrong name on purpose, inappropriate content being uploaded, copying someone else's work. We've actually had this happen in a real person class where students were copying their friends' essays. Hopefully that's not going to happen this summer, but it's just really silly. Please don't do things like that. Also, if you're sharing our Zoom link that is only made for elite students with non-elite students, that will lead to expulsion right away. So please do not share our links. It is secured. We don't want any Zoom bombings happening in our program. We don't want anything to happen to halt our instruction. So please make sure you guys secure your Zoom links that you're getting through the SIS. Video recordings, again, will not be posted without consent. So if you guys are making videos and posting it somewhere and it's showing other students, and if we find out that you're the culprit, you will be expelled from our program. So make sure you guys don't do that. I'm saying this again and again because it is that important. So I know it sounds like a broken record, but please do not record our program and post it somewhere. Also, look into what an etiquette, or in this case, netiquette is. So language and comments, academic use of platforms, access to teachers, all that. I want you to use proper etiquette, proper common sense. As long as you guys practice that, I don't think we should be having any problems this summer. Demerits. So we have a system called demerits where if you are not submitting your homework or your TRPs, your quizzes are not inputted, or you're skipping them, or you're doing poorly in all the above, or you're misbehaving during class and not following directions on purpose. Hopefully we won't have these students in this summer. Most of you guys 99.9% of you guys are amazing. But if this doesn't happen, we are going to give you demerits, and it will result in mandatory meeting with the parents and counselor right away. And it could also lead to expulsion. I don't like to expel students, and we very, very seldomly do things like that. I mean, I don't think I can even count with two hands with my fingers, like how many people we expelled in the last decade. It's very, very rare. But hopefully you guys will all be committed this summer and willing to work hard to get what you want out of our program. As far as absences, there are no makeup sessions for any live stream classes. You can make up your test if you missed it during the alternate testing times. It's throughout the weekday and also on Saturday. Absent student must still complete assignments. Even if you're gone for a week or two, you still have to finish your assignment. And you have to submit them, upload them on Google Classroom. And we want you to take the test that you missed as well and upload your scores so that we can track them. Also, if you miss lecture, you can contact your maybe fellow classmates, or you can let your instructor know in advance, and they can probably give you heads up on what you'll be missing. You have to get your absences excused by your parent or guardian. You can't just call and say, I can't come today. Why? So make sure your parents or guardian calls us to let us know about that. They can email us or call us for that. If you're missing a class or a day or two, we don't have any additional materials because we're giving you everything this summer. So you already picked it up, so you don't need to ask for that. Rarely, I think sometimes a teacher might have extra material outside of the backpack material. So you're going to have to talk to your teachers directly. All assignments and lessons will be noted on the Student SIS Google Classroom. So your teachers and our admin staff and even your parents can see it. It's your responsibility to check and complete what's been assigned. It's not our responsibility to go after you and take care of you as if you're a 5-year-old. So make sure you guys are responsible about that as well. Now, I have an exciting news as I wrap up this video. We have our Elite Vision Expo, career and college panels. This actually only happens every 2 years for Northern California and Southern California branches. But this year, and we do that is a big scale event where we rent out a humongous convention center or a gigantic church where even up to like 5,000 students and parents will attend. So this year we decided to go online and provide a webinar series of our Vision Expo, and we're going to spread it out throughout the summer. So we're going to start on June 20th. So that will be a week into our program. On Saturday from 3 o'clock. And we have invited amazing guest speakers who are in the field of different fields like of careers like education, psychology, psychiatry, business, law, medicine, healthcare, computer science, engineering, creative arts. We'll also have a whole bunch of elite alumni who are graduated from college, and they can answer any questions you may have about the colleges that you're interested in. So it's going to be a great event, and it's free for all the elite students who are taking our program this summer. So hopefully you guys can take advantage of that as well. Also, want to wrap up by introducing our staff. So I think that a lot of you guys have already met or spoken to Penny and Jesse. Penny's our office manager. Jesse's our educational consultant, also our math instructor. And again, my name is Walter. I'm your director at Elite of Fremont. And we are here to help you. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact us by phone or by email at fremont@eliteprep.com. So that wraps up this video. I hope that this video was very helpful in answering a lot of the questions you have. And hopefully we'll be seeing you guys soon next week. Please be safe out there. Take care.